Welcome to Today I Learned a Programming Thing, a series where I show small programming tricks that I've learned that make a big difference. Today I learned there's no excuse for a SQL injection vulnerability. So you could watch videos from, I believe his name is Tom Scott, on Computer File that has a better explanation of what a SQL injection attack is if you already know. But what I'm going to say is I'm going to give a couple of examples. One that just comes straight out of the PHP.net manual, just because I don't have any PHP examples on hand. And one that is on one of my projects that is on GitHub from Node.js. So, what I'm going to say is that it is exceptionally easy to parameterize a query, and it will not take you long to figure out how. If you know how to use a database, you've already done 90% of the work needed to learn how to parameterize a query. And the second thing I'm going to say is that a lot of people will think, no one's going to know where to do this kind of attack. That's called security through obscurity, and you do not want to do that. I'm going to, first of all, make that bigger, because the font in the last video was a lot smaller than I wanted it to be. So this is using the MySQL package for Node.js, and it's going to be similar for any programming language with any database. It's not going to be the same for all of them, of course, because there's going to be different commands. What I have here is a query. I haven't highlighted the whole thing just because it makes it difficult to see the text. But these highlighted rows here, you can see that I have a query that have question marks down here. Well, that's not proper SQL syntax. If I put that into MySQL, it would throw back an error. But this is actually a special character to say, I'm going to put these values in later. And I'm going to put it in carefully to avoid SQL attacks. And there's functions that are designed to already do that. So there's functions that are designed to avoid SQL attacks. So this query XSS is a custom function. It's just a slight modification of the existing query function for the MySQL package for Node.js, but the functionality here remains the same. I now have the query that I already defined up here, and now I have this array of column values. So that's going to say put this default display name right here. So this default display name is actually a parameter that the user defines. And I want to make sure that a user doesn't put anything bad in there. I want to make sure there's nothing nefarious in there. And same thing with the email address. So the email address, so what this does is this is an array of default display name and the email address. So what this query XS does, or just the regular query function as well, is going to take this array column values and stick it in there. It's going to stick it in there in a way that's going to get rid of anything that could be potentially dangerous. So that's literally how easy it is to parameterize a query. I don't have any PHP code on me right now because I haven't done a lot of PHP at home. I've mostly done Node.js at home. I've done a lot of PHP at work though. Okay, so this is using MySQLi. It's probably very, very similar in PDO. I know that PDO is a little bit more flexible, so you can actually do a little bit more with PDO. But this is the basic idea. So you could do, this is procedural style. I want to do object-oriented style. So this is a MySQLi object, and you can say prepare this query. So prepare with question mark. Pretty much the same basic idea as it is in Node. And here you bind the parameter. In this case, in MySQLi, you have to say, this is going to be a string. Because that way it knows to put quotation marks around here. Don't parameterize with quotation marks. I almost forgot to say that. If you use a string, don't treat it different. Don't put quotation marks around the question mark because that will screw things up. So it carefully and safely puts this value in city wherever the name is. So then it executes the query and it does it safely. And that's how easy it is to parameterize a query. Okay, my camera is shaking right now because my cat is rubbing her head against my laptop screen.